Fallout is a very interesting series to me for many reasons. Not only because of the games, but because of the fact that my favorite game in the series isn't even made by the owners of the franchise. That, combined with my feelings towards Fallout 3 and Fallout 4, make looking towards the future of Fallout a potentially sad endeavor. My name is Paul of Mitten Squad, and these are my thoughts on the future of Fallout. First and foremost, I need to talk about what could be the worst aspect of Fallout 4 that I desperately hope doesn't make it into the next Fallout game: the voiced protagonist. My issue with the voiced protagonist isn't the voice acting itself, because that's fine for what it is. My issue is that Fallout 4 isn't The Witcher 3 or Borderlands or Halo or like a lot of other games. The point of Fallout is the journey of your character. Fallout 4 told the story of the sole survivor. You just happen to be playing as that character. Whether you wanted to be a dim-witted melee-only character, a heavy weapon-wielding maniac, or a smooth talker who doesn't fight unless he has to, your character always sounded the same. When you play Fallout 3 or New Vegas, or even the original games, your character has a certain voice in your head. You envision him or her sounding a certain way. In Fallout 4, you are told how your character sounds. You also have a family that you're supposed to care for. The problem is, you just dropped into the shoes of the sole survivor. Fallout 3 took you through the childhood of your character. You see the character's age and evolve around you. That segues nicely into another issue with Fallout 4, the choices. Really, they aren't even choices at all. You can flat out say no, say yes, ask a question that leads to saying yes, or give a sarcastic response that says yes anyway. You don't actually make choices, you're given the illusion of choice. Compare that to New Vegas. You are presented with a bunch of factions and you choose who to side with. The game doesn't tell you that the Legion are the bad guys and you must stop them. If you agree with them, you can take your side. You can meet other factions and decide if you want to wipe them out or keep them alive. You're given actual choices. Those are my two biggest complaints with Fallout 4. I love Fallout for the lore, the stories told in the games, and the choices you have to make. The gameplay is secondary. My biggest fear moving forward is that Bethesda will continue to dumb down the games in an attempt to appeal to a wider audience, but as a result of that, they'll alienate more die-hard fans like myself. In an ideal world, they'll look at Fallout 3, New Vegas, and 4 to see what fans like and try to please all of them. That probably sounds incredibly obvious, because it is. They now have 3 points of reference moving forwards. Unfortunately though, at least in the places I go, a lot of people like New Vegas more than 3 and 4, at least from depth, gameplay, and lore perspectives. Bethesda might not even like that Obsidian out-Fallouted them, which could be why so many of the features that New Vegas introduced were scrapped for Fallout 4. I kinda doubt that they'd be that petty though. Speaking of scrapped features, more features I'd like to see return are weapon degradation and repairing. I really hate being able to theoretically use a gun throughout the entire game without having to repair it at all. In New Vegas, I was always picking up weapons so that I could repair my main weapons when they broke down. Needing to repair weapons could pair very nicely with the weapon modifications introduced in Fallout 4. Instead of being able to repair a weapon anywhere, you need to repair it at a workbench. That way you could decide whether or not you want to use a gun to repair another gun, or whether you want to scrap the gun to make modifications to another gun. Another example of dumbing down the games would be the skill system. In Fallout 3 and New Vegas, you had to choose what you wanted to be good at. Do you put all your points into weapon skills and become an angel of death, or do you put your points into survival-based skills with the mindset that you can't be stopped if you can't be killed? Or do you neglect both of those in favor of charismatic skills to talk your way out of any situation? You can't really do that in Fallout 4. Skills are more like perks. I preferred putting points into something to get better at it instead of just a 10% damage boost across the board for one-handed weapons. New Vegas and 3 had damage increases too, but in the form of actual perks in addition to skills. Even compared to Skyrim, it's incredibly simple. From the get-go, your combat prowess is more or less the same as it is at the end of the game. You just deal more damage thanks to a few generic perks. Having recently played through Skyrim again, and having played through New Vegas a couple dozen times, I just don't like Fallout 4's skill system at all. I even found myself sitting on multiple skill points because I didn't really see anything worth getting. I think future Fallout games should go back to the Fallout 3 and New Vegas style of skills. You get points each time you level up and distribute them accordingly. I think that makes the game more fun. You have to actually think about what you're going to do in the future. That, of course, means that there would have to be more skill checks in the game. There need to be things in the game that you can only do if you have certain skills high enough. Not restrictions in creating or modifying weapons and armor based on what perks you have. I mean actual interactions with NPCs and objects in the game. You can only convince certain people to do certain things if your speech skill is high enough. This video is about the future of Fallout, and I can't talk about the future of Fallout without talking about where future games could take place. Honestly though, I don't really care where they take place. I wouldn't object to the next game taking place outside of the United States either. We've seen a lot of areas in the United States, but we know so little about what happened to Europe or China or Russia or even Africa. Just think about a Fallout game taking place in the United Kingdom. The main game could be in England, and we could have 3 big DLCs taking us to Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland. Imagine a quest taking you to a post-nuclear war Stonehenge. I think a United Kingdom Fallout game has a ton of potential to be incredible, but like I said, where the games take place isn't really a big deal to me. I mentioned the lore earlier in the video, and I think that's an important part of Fallout, but there need to be decisions made about certain things. For example, in Fallout New Vegas, Harlan says that he lived off of rad roach and condensation, but in Fallout 4, Billy Peabody survived being in a fridge for over 100 years. Why is that? Why can that happen? What do ghouls actually need to live? There are a lot of things like that that create contradictions between the games. New Vegas is much more of a successor to Fallout 2 than it is a spin-off to Fallout 3. Bethesda seems to have taken some liberties from aspects of the Fallout universe that had previously been established in past games. I'm not saying they need to change everything to match what was already created because they own the franchise, they can do what they want with it, but they need to provide some in-game explanations as to why things might be different between different locations and different games. There's also a big aspect of Fallout that I haven't really mentioned yet, and that's gameplay. The running and gunning, if you will. To be honest, I prefer the gameplay from Fallout 3 and New Vegas. It's more arcadey, and it certainly is clunkier, but I think it suits the games well. Fallout 4 plays very well, but it feels too much like a first-person shooter, which is not what Fallout is. It's an RPG with first-person shooter elements. Obviously, I'm excluding Fallout 1, 2, Brotherhood, and Tactics here. It's tough to describe why I prefer the older titles in this area. Honestly, I think part of it is just that I played them first. After playing through Fallout 3 and New Vegas so many times, their gameplay just became ingrained in my mind. When I first played Fallout 4, I immediately thought, this doesn't feel like Fallout, and I stand by that. To round all this up, because it's been more of a criticism of Fallout 4 than it is anything else, I think it should be obvious what I want from the future of Fallout. I want a sequel to Fallout New Vegas. To me, New Vegas captures everything a Fallout game should be with perfection. There are some things from Fallout 4 that I'd like to include, the weapon and armor crafting, the power armor actually feeling like power armor, but that's kinda it. Honestly, I'm not exactly ecstatic about the future of Fallout. I'm looking forward to the next game to be sure, but I don't have much hope that it will head in a more New Vegas-y direction. I fear that it will become even more dumbed down than 4 was, and what made people fall in love with Fallout in the first place will be no more. Alright, those are just kind of my thoughts about the future of Fallout, the way things have been going with the series as of late, and what could happen in the future. If you agreed with me or enjoyed the video, leave a like. If you disagree with me or didn't like the video, leave a dislike, and maybe leave a comment telling me what you think about the future of Fallout if you've made it this far in the video. Follow me on Twitter at Mitten Squad. My name is Paul of Mitten Squad. Have a wonderful day.